By Stephen Marrocco, July 8, 2019, 6:30 p.m. Former UFC interim welterweight champion Colby Covington, who now calls himself the undisputed in People's Champ of America, said Jorge Masvidal has him to thank for the knee that ended Ben Askren's night at UFC 239. "I well prepared him for this moment," Covington told MMA Junkie. "Without him training with me all of these years, he wouldn't have gotten that win." In a characteristically brash interview, Covington took a few more shots at Askren, who was on the wrong end of the fastest knockout in UFC history this past Saturday at T-Mobile Arena. "He's now 0-2 in the UFC with 2 first-round knockout losses," Covington said. "He really needs to go back to Asia with all the other inferior products. But let's be honest, Bill, CM Punk, Brooks, has spent more time in the UFC octagon and has 2 less losses than Askren." Covington is one of many targets Askren has mocked since signing with the UFC. At an open workout for UFC 239, Askren polled the audience and concluded Covington was the least liked fighter on the roster. Now, Covington is taking great pleasure in Askren's defeat. "We all found out that Askren didn't belong," Covington said. "He's overrated, which I knew. I've been saying that the whole time. He's been buying clicks. He's been buying followers. But let me tell you one thing, you can't buy octagon wins." Masvidal's victory creates an awkward situation for Covington. The longtime training partners are in line for the same title, and Masvidal's shocking performance creates an incentive for the UFC to book him against champ Kamaru Usman later this year. Covington won't get in his friend's way if that's the case. He said he and Masvidal spoke about vying for the same title 5 years ago and made peace with fighting as long as belt was at stake. "We knew that our paths were going to cross," he said. "We knew that he was a little too big for lightweight, and he was going to have to come to welterweight. We just said, hey man, it's just business. There's no hard feelings. It's nothing personal. It's just we both want that championship paycheck. So we'll cross that bridge when it comes, and now we're closer than ever to that bridge being crossed. It's not a big deal. It's what we love to do. When we fight, it will just be purely business. We'll finish our business, and we'll go back to being best friends the next day." Covington, though, believes he'll be first to fight Usman with a win over ex-champ Robbie Lawler in August at UFC on ESPN 5. "I really do think the UFC's going to let me handle this business with Marty first," Covington said of Usman. "They're going to let me throw him in the trash, and then we're going to have this super fight with me and Jorge. That's going to sell itself. If not, then whatever. I can fight whoever. But I'm going to defend my belt. I'm going to do what I do best, and that's win. That's why I'm the great American winning machine." For more on UFC on ESPN 5, check out the UFC schedule. Ben Askren, breaking, Colby Covington, Jorge Masvidal, UFC 239 news, UFC Let's block ads. Why?